Hey everybody. Today we're going to be going over a couple things. One of the things that I kind of want to talk about is the capo. We're going to talk about the uses of the capo and some of the things that you can do with it, but also to kind of help you understand how to use it, and kind of some little secrets of the trade, or like some little things that like the music industry does that kind of like messes with you. So first thing you would kind of get to understand this is that you kind of have to learn a little bit about what keys are. And I'm not going to go into it in huge depth, but if you maybe I'll do a lesson later on the circle of fifths and stuff, and we'll really dive into keys. But for right now, for layman's term, I'm just going to kind of give you kind of a brief explanation, kind of an easy way of maybe understanding kind of what keys are and how keys work. So the idea is that we have octaves on the keyboard where everything keeps repeating over and over again. And inside of that octave, we basically have 7 notes, right? So if I start at C and I go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, okay, there's 7 notes, and then on the 8th note, we're back to number 1 again, or back to the C again, okay? So there's basically in an octave, there's 8 notes, but really just 7, because we otherwise, if we say 8, we would be counting the C twice. Does that make sense? And then inside of that octave pattern, there's 5 black keys, okay? So basically, if we go from octave to octave and we count every single note in that octave, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's basically 12 notes or 12 half steps in an octave to go from any note back to that note. So if I go from E to E, G to G, even if I start on a black key, like if I go from F sharp to F sharp, there's going to be 12 half steps or 12 notes in that octave, okay? So basically the easiest way to understand keys, there's actually 15 keys, but for right now I'm just going to kind of try and I'm going to kind of explain this in maybe just a little bit simpler format so you can understand it, okay? So basically every single note inside of that octave, when we start on that note, if you've watched one of my previous videos about the major scale, basically for every note that we basically start on, that's a key, okay? So for instance, if I start on the note of C, okay, that would be the key of C. If I start on the note of C sharp or D flat, that would be the key of D flat. Does that make sense? So every single note in this octave basically is a key. So how many keys are there? Well, for layman's term, there's basically 12, but there's 15 actually on the circle, and like I said, I'm not going to get into that today, but just so that you kind of understand, each note, just kind of think of it like this, each note is its own key, okay? And then when you break down the major scale, or you break down the number system or the pattern system for each of those keys or each of those notes, you can get major chords, you can get minor chords, you can get 7 chords, you can get all your scales. Everything comes off of every single one of those notes from each of those scales. Okay, so I hope that kind of makes sense a little bit. I feel like it's probably a little bit vague for some of my beginner students, things like that. But anyway, so the only thing you really need to know is that there's a major chord for the key of C. There's a major chord for the key of D. There's a major chord for the key of A or E. There's a major chord for the key of F. Major chord for the key of G. See what I'm saying? And the same thing. There's a minor chord. There's a 7 7 7 7 7 chord. So there's basically everything comes off of each one of these notes in that key. Okay. So now we're going to switch gears. We're going to come over here for a second. And what I really want to talk about is this right here. Okay. So this is a really cool tool, especially for if you like to sing, because different songs that you'll sing are being sung by different artists. So for instance, you may be singing a song by, from Metallica, or you may be singing a song from, Celine Dion or whoever. And every single one of those artists sing in different key ranges, okay? Or if they have amazing voices, they might be able to sing in just about whatever they want. But a lot of music or a lot of songs are written in different key ranges, okay? And because of that, what that means is that a lot of times what happens is that the chords that you're playing, so for the most part, hopefully, you can keep it right here in the what's called the open chords. But sometimes, because of the keys that you're in, it might force you to play up on the neck in what we call bar chords, okay? And if you don't know your bar chords, or you don't know how to find those, okay, there's some really easy, quick trips, just kind of like some tricks and things like that you can learn with your capo that help you to keep your open chords, but to be able to play in some of those weird keys where there might be like a lot of like black notes and things like that in that key, where you have to play a lot of things in bars and things like that, and it might be a little bit difficult. So basically what the capo does is it basically changes the key for us. So instead of having to play it as a bar chord like this, okay, I can put my capo down on that same spot, and now the capo acts as my bar, just like my finger. And now instead of having to play a full bar chord, I can just play an open chord. So now I can just play an A minor or an E minor or a G behind this capo, but I've changed the key, because now instead of playing it down here in open position, now I'm playing all of those open chords right here on the 2nd fret. So you can kind of hear, so let me just kind of show you for a second. If I play an E chord, okay, and I capo it up, and I play the same chord, but now, so basically in essence what I've done is I've taken that E major chord and I've raised it 2 half steps, right, or a whole step, okay? So now it's basically, instead of it being in the key of E, okay, because I'm down here, with E being my root right here, now what I've done basically is I've risen this up to basically F sharp, and now I'm playing an F sharp major, okay? So now basically I've taken that E chord, and I'm now with the capo I'm able to stay in those open chord positions, but I can change keys very easily by just moving things around with this capo. Now, a couple of reasons why that's really, really good to know is because, let's say for instance I learned a song, but I learned it down here in this open position, and I already know the song, okay? But I know how to play it down here in these open positions, okay? But then what happens is say like somebody comes in, like your friend or something, and says, I can't sing it down there, it's too low. I gotta sing it up here somewhere. Well, instead of having to relearn the whole song all over again, all you have to do is just say, well, where do you want to sing it? And you can capo, and now you can play the song exact same way that you've always played it, but just up on the neck. And now I've taken the song and I've raised it by 5 half steps, and I'm playing 5 steps higher. Now I'm playing the song in a higher key or a different key. And now the singer, whoever is trying to sing with me or whatever, now it's very, very easy for her to do that because it's in a key range that matches her voice. Okay, does that make sense? So by moving this capo around, I'm able to take a lot of music that maybe there's an artist, like if you've ever had an artist where you've tried to sing their song and you're like, I can't sing that song where that artist sings it because it's either too high or it's too low or it's not working for me vocally. Move your capo around, and what you'll find is that, like for instance, like you'd be like, oh, well, I can sing her songs, I just have to change keys with it. So like to give you an example, like a lot of Metallica songs, I have a really low voice, so a lot of the Metallica songs and like Johnny Cash songs and some of those kinds of things I can sing very, very easily in open position. But for whatever reason, like Keith Urban's songs, I can't sing his songs typically where he sings them because my voice is different than his. But if I capo up on the neck like this and I play all of his songs up here, now I can sing all of his songs just fine because it puts it in a different key range for my voice where it matches my voice better. Okay, does that make sense? The other thing that you'll find with key ranges, with voices and things like that is that it's not really a male or female thing. It's more of a key range thing. I know that's hard to kind of wrap your mind around, but like for instance, like there's a lot of artists female-wise that I can sing very, very well. Like Adele, for instance, I can sing all of her songs in her key range just fine. But there's a lot of male voices, like say Keith Urban, that for whatever reason his key range is different than mine, and I have to move it around a little bit to be able to sing in his songs. Does that make sense? So it's not really a male-female thing so much as it is a key thing. Okay, so sometimes by going up on the neck, it actually makes it easier, even if it's female or male, doesn't really matter, okay? So something to kind of just think about. So one of the things, just kind of watch for, okay? So here's a little thing to kind of watch for too as well, like in the music world, they know that most people don't know how to play outside of what's called the open chords, which are down here, okay? Most of the songs that most musicians write that are on the radio, they wrote them in open chord positions. But what they'll do is when they record the song in the recording studio, that what they'll do is they'll take that whole song and they'll either raise it a half step or they'll lower it a half step. And the reason they do that is because they know if they raise that song up a half step, that what it does is it puts it in a weird key, so that now when you're sitting there trying to play and you're trying to figure out what chords they're using on those songs, it's not working out for you because by shifting that a half step, it puts it into a key where you're going to have to play a lot of bars and you're in a lot of black notes and things like that with what you're playing. And so you end up having to do a lot of bars and things like that to be able to play those songs. One little trick that you'll find is that if you'll just capo on capo 1, a lot of times you'll be able to play all those songs in open positions because they've just shifted it a half step, either up or down, a lot of times on the radio. So that it makes it really difficult for you to figure out how to play those songs, okay? So, capo, okay? When you're learning songs, try this, okay? If you learn a song but you find that it's not working for you vocally, move it around with your capo a little bit, and what you'll find is that usually there's like a sweet spot where once you find that key range, wherever that is, that you'll be able to sing just fine, and it'll work out for you, okay? So experiment with that a little bit. And I guess if you have any questions or whatever with this, give me a text or give me a call or whatever, and we'll kind of go through things. But so the capo, the power of the capo, okay? Anyway, have a great day, guys.